Hello everyone, welcome back to another contrast paint video. It's been a little while since I've done one of them, but as you can see, today we're doing something a little bit different. It's not 40k, it's not Batman, it's not DC, it's Marvel. This is the Iron Man miniature that comes in the core set for Marvel Crisis Protocol that you've seen the unboxing of by now. 40mm base, already based in Grey Seer, I remembered to say it early that time. And because of all the vibrant colours with the Marvel characters, they are perfect for contrast. So for Iron Man here today, I think he's based on his MK7 or MK6 armour, I'm not 100% sure, but either way, it's going to be Blood Angels Red contrast that'll be getting the most out of this miniature, I feel. We'll be doing, for the first step, just coating basically the whole thing. Then we'll just be using the potted Grey Seer, as I try and find it, the potted Grey Seer to pick out the parts that will then be done in, I think, probably gold rather than yellow, but I'll decide that at a time. And then the arc reactor and his repulsor in his hand. Not sure what I'm going to do with those. Might be contrast, or it might be a mix of something like Fenrisian grey and Calgar blue, something like that to try and get the glow. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to do that on the fly. The base will be silver for the metal bits and maybe orange for the brick. That's how they've been painted officially. I have been painting some miniatures from the box already. I have two I prepared earlier that I'll just quickly show to give you an idea of scale, I guess. So, a bit too big to fit in frame, but that's the Ultron miniature. He's mostly just done in lead belcher with a little bit of Gryph-hound orange contrast inside his crevices and then basilicum grey on the base, essentially. Not much to him, but he's the largest miniature that comes in the box. And then, probably still drying, just got done with Captain Marvel, who's in ultramarine blue, flesh terror red, Yandan yellow for the blonde hair, and basilicum grey for the base as well. And Calgar flesh, or whatever it's called, for the skin colour too. So that's one that's in, or just finished. But the main goal today is Mr. Tony Stark. So to get started, we're just going to go over everything with a liberal coating of Blood Angels Red, and then after that time skip, we will go from there. So I've let the Blood Angels contrast dry a little bit and then also applied Grey Seer, not particularly cleanly, just in places where I'm going to go over it with Gehenna Gold and Balthazar Gold and probably a little bit of Agrector Shade as well, you know, the usual for when anything is gold. So that'll be on his underarm bits where there's less armour, his helmet, and kind of in between his legs, and there's just like little bits on his knees and stuff as well. So that's all going to be gold once that's done. Also went over the arc reactor, as I said earlier, and also his little repulsors on his both hands as well. So what we're going to do now during the next time skip is the last of the contrast work on this miniature. Going to use some Gryph-hound orange on the brick, on the base here, just for that section around there. And I think what I'm going to do, yeah, I think I'm going to do this. We're going to do some Thalasar blue on the repulsor, on the arc reactor, but then while it's still wet, just take a little bit of, let's say, Calgar blue, maybe just a light blue, and just try and mix it in the middle so the middle looks brighter. Maybe even something a bit lighter than that, like the Fenrisian grey that I mentioned earlier. We'll experiment with it and see how it looks. That is also going to be used on his eyes as well before the gold goes on in the final steps. So anyway, orange, blues, contrast, let's get on with that real quick. So still got a lot of drying to do, especially on the orange. I'm not 100% happy with the arc reactor. When I stopped recording the time skip, I put a little bit of Ultramarines blue in to try and darken the outer rim, and it kind of bled a bit too much, so then I had to apply the brighter bit again. Not 100% happy with that. The Griphound orange though is the exact shade of like kind of palish orange that those stepping stones or paving stones, that's what I'm looking for, look like, so I'm happy with how that turned out. So anyway, this is all got to dry now. Then I'll be doing the gold on the face mask, the arms, all the exposed grey here you can still see. A lot of lead belcher on the base, and then the rim of the base is just going to be go over it in Abaddon black, most likely. So it'll just be a little fade away here to the finished Mr. Iron Man. And sometime later here we have the finished miniature. I think it turned out okay, not fantastic. I'm actually surprised the Blood Angels Red wasn't more vibrant on this. It has been lighter on some of like the Tau videos we did, for instance, that used Blood Angel Red. The pot is almost empty, so I'm wondering if the more pigment has pooled in what's left over, and as a result has left it a bit thicker compared to as a contrast paint would normally be. I don't know for sure, this is just me making assumptions based on some of the other miniatures we painted. So as I do a get 360 spin here, I will also mention I applied some hard coat to the arc reactor to make it shiny, which I think helped a little bit, but you know. And also over the red armor, I did a quick dry brush, a very, very light dry brush of, what is it called? Kindle Flame, one of the Citadel dry paints, just because I can't edge highlight because my hands are not steady enough. If you can edge highlight, just pick a red that's like a tone lighter than Blood Angels Red and go over all the outlines of the armor, make it look a million times better than this. But we'll do our 360 Gyro spin. I also applied some Nuln Oil just into the recesses of the red armor, and I actually think it looks better from the back as a result. I think it's pulled really nicely on the back of the model. And some of the dry brushing I deliberately applied is streaks on the arms to kind of make it look like metal that's been damaged. You can kind of see it on the back of the legs, but not as prominent an effect as I thought. And I tried to add a little bit of shine to his hand there, which will not be in focus. Nope, definitely not. Just a very pale coating of paint around his palm, just as if it's lighting up to fire. The base turned out nicely. Again, I'm very happy with how the bricks look. The silver plus the Agrax, or Agrax went on it. It looks fine. It just looks like a metal grain, which is the idea. So that's the third of the 10 miniatures you get in the box, finished, more or less. I think it turned out okay. And again, contrast paint takes a lot of the work out if you don't know how to paint, like I do. There will be more next time. We might be doing Spider-Man, or maybe some, I don't know, Red Skull, we'll see. It'll probably be another Marvel miniature, almost certainly. So look forward to that. Thank you very much for watching this painting video, and I will see you next time for something else. Ta-ta for now.